Everyone to an all-new episode of the Comic Multiverse, where the worlds of nerd meet. Joining me, as always, is my co-host in crime, Matt. How you doing?
I'm doing really well.
That's good. We'll get more into our weeks as we normally do in the show. I want to start off, as I tend to start off now, with a little bit of channel and show housekeeping. First and foremost, I want to thank all the patrons who make this possible, and I especially want to thank our newest patron, Randall, who pledged just recently. We haven't had a new one to add to the Patreon in a bit. Haven't had a new one to mention, so I just wanted to send some love that dude's way. It's funny too. We went from $81 on the Patreon to $60, and then back up to $71 thanks to Randall. And I'm like, hey, what happened? We were so close to 100. What happened? But, you know, that's just the Patreon game. They go up and down. Although part of me had to wonder, I'm like, is this what's up, everybody? Because the show has moved now to Podbean, where you can listen to the show a day before it premieres on YouTube. Or some people like, well, I'll just listen to it there then. I don't need to be one of the cool kids and get it exclusively first every Monday when we're done recording. I don't need that. I'm not about that life. No, that's fine. I understand if some people had to change their thing and go back and forth. That's fine. I understand. It's tough out there. The economy is rough and everything. It's all good.
Yeah.
Speaking of the show on Podbean, I really wanted to talk about this because I was really proud of this, and it even ties into my week as well. So I spent all of Tuesday re-uploading all the shows there to Podbean for people to listen to, including the newest one, episode 15, which was our Civil War show. Here's a question for you, Matt. How many times do you think the Comic Multiverse has been downloaded on Podbean?
2.
Try over 200 times.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's fucking awesome. You guys are all champs. I'm really glad that you like that, and I'm really glad that you've all started downloading it in mass. And that's not even the newest episode, too. People went back and downloaded our old episodes, too. They downloaded our, backlog, and I think that's super cool that people care enough about us to go back and listen to old shows.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
It's a testament to the podcast quality that we put out every week that people will even listen to our reruns. It's a good time. It's a good day. And, you know, before people ask, and, you know, I figured this out on my own, too, we don't actually make any money when you download it or when you listen to it on Podbean. We just do it because we want to, and we want you to be able to carry it around with you.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, if Audible or someone wanted to sponsor the show on Podbean, they're more than welcome to.
Yeah, the door's open, guys.
The door is open. If you want some solid dick joke journalism and some comic talk that, you know, can reach a bunch of people, please, please holler at us. Holler at your boys, if you would. And I'm also really happy that the show did really good, because for people who've been following me on social media and everything, they'll know that, Wednesday, my computer fucking died on New Comic Book Day. It blue screened. It was my work rig. Used it for everything. Had everything tied up in it. Had it for years. And it died on me. Just pure blue screen. And I was inconsolable because I'm like, why? Why on New Comic Book Day? Why on Civil War #0 day? Why would you do this to me? Luckily, thanks to all the good patrons and all the people who have been listening to the show and listening to the channel and everything, I was able to save up something of a nest egg. So I went out and bought myself a brand new computer. And oh my god, all week trying to catch up on reviews and also trying to put all my shit back into the computer. By god.
Yeah, it takes a while.
It takes a while. So much shit I take for granted. All of my Sony Vegas shortcuts and everything that make doing reviews a breeze. I had to do all those again. Also, you don't realize how used to stuff on your computer you get until you get a new one, like the mouse. The mouse on my old HP I liked so much better because it was stronger. This one is much more sensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, on this Acer. But you know what? I traded up to a better computer, so I should hopefully be better. I didn't cry when the other one blue screened because I was sure to back some shit up because it had been crashing all week long.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I'm lucky I never had that sort of problem, but I've had other problems, but yeah.
Yeah, I feared a blue screen of death was coming, and indeed it did come. So I'm glad that I was able to hop on that one while I could, and hopefully moving forward, the old rig 2.0 will be able to maintain.
Cool.
Should fucking maintain. I dropped like over $800 on it. You know, that being said, the warranty on this one was much better than the warranty on my old one.
Yeah, that's good.
Because here's the thing, I didn't fill out the warranty on my old one, Matt, and I'll tell you why. It's not because I'm stupid, it's because I'm smart. Allow me to explain. Because of my job the way it is, I couldn't wait to send a computer back for servicing and anything. If it broke, I would be fucked and would need to go buy a new one anyway. At least with the new warranty I have, I can just take it right to the store and they'll have to give me a new one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I can live with that. None of this mailing away shit.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that mailing away stuff. I remember one of my old laptops had that, and the like battery pack that it had died, and you had to mail away for one. It took weeks.
Oh yeah. I felt like an extra goon too, because the blue screen was telling me like, hey, you know, if you insert your Windows 8 disk, we can get you into this mode and maybe you can get your shit back. So I literally ran downstairs, because I live in a condo. I ran to my storage room, found the box with the warranty that I didn't fill out, and I shook it up. I'm like, was there a disc in here? I don't think there was a disc in here. There wasn't a disc in there.
Yeah, they usually all just come preloaded.
Yeah, so
And I think that's how they get you. They get you. Oh, it failed. Oh, looks like you got to bring it back to us.
So, you know, if you're a member of the Multiverse Universe, and yes, I've decided that's what our fans are going to be called now, Matt, the Multiverse Universe. If you're a member of the Multiverse Universe and you have a spare Windows 8 thing lying around, friggin' get in contact, because, you know, I wouldn't mind being able to jump some old stuff off that.
Yeah.
Actually, it's hilarious, too. That computer was pretty much a lost cause anyway, or at least it was near it, because I had cracked the screen at the back, which is no trouble. You know, I mean, hey, wear and tear, it happens.
Yeah.
But then I also broke the left hinge on it by accident.
Okay.
Which means that if I had tried to close it and send that away for servicing, the screen would warp and probably snap.
Yeah.
So I pretty much have that one just over in the corner right now, my old one, my old faithful that still has my Witcher stickers and everything on it so you could know it was mine. I have it in the corner as kind of like a poor, like, you know, solemn grave too, where it's like, you know, I still go by it every so often and pay my respects to the computer that was.
Yeah.
Old Silvery took me through a lot. You know, I took him to Montreal with me. I took him to multiple Toronto cons. I took him all over the world, man. And he was a good friend to me all the way. and now I have to pour a 40 out on the curb for it. I got old Blackie now, is what I got. He's kind of got graphite on the front, and I had one Captain America sticker sitting around from my Geek Fuel, so I put Captain America on the inside of it now. Also, if you have any stickers you would like to add to Old Blackie, send to P.O. Box. I actually do need to open a P.O. Box. That's another thing I'll ask the fans, the comic multiverse universe right now. If Matt and I got P.O. Boxes, would you send us fan mail and shit? Because I could see both of us opening shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, putting that one out there. And from, you know, endless tech talk and everything and endless whatever, or I guess endless just me talking. How was your week, Matt?
Pretty chill. You know, I've just been sort of watching TV, catching up on that Game of Thrones episode for this week, and
Hold the
pretty
door,
good.
hold the door. Why am I crying so hard?
Well, when I saw that, I was like, I like it didn't click immediately. I like hold the door, and then he started like saying that. I'm like, holy shit, that's what it means. Holy shit.
Not only is that a holy shit moment, but George R. R. Martin came down and said, yes, that's canon. That's how I would have done it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, because like the show's now ahead of the books, isn't it?
Yep. In some regards, it is.
Well, that's the thing. Like I've only read the first book, and I read it just before the show came out, and then I just decided, I'll just watch the show.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if like he said that's pretty good that they're writing things that he would have written.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you don't feel cheated or anything. Speaking of new shows and speaking of differences between books and series, did you watch the first episode of Preacher?
I did. I thought it was great.
I enjoyed it, and I kind of enjoyed it in spite of myself, is the interesting thing. And I'm kind of afraid to say I enjoy it, because I know for a lot of people, Preacher is right up there with, like, Neil Gaiman's Sandman and Watchmen as, like, you know, the holy trinity of unfilmable comic book properties. And I almost made a review for it. I might make a vlog out of it, is what I might do, because I don't know if I have room for it on the channel as it is right now, what with all the comics coming out. But I'll put it somewhere where people can watch it if they're so interested. And yeah, I kind of liked it in spite of myself, because it is not the comic. It's not.
No.
But it carries a lot of the themes and a lot of the spirit of the comic. Like, again, this is Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg doing this. And weirdly, the thing they get that I think I was most afraid of whenever they were talking about doing a TV or a movie version of it, they get the weird, dark, Looney Tunes-esque comedy that Ennis is known for.
Yep.
Cassidy is perfect, I would say.
My god, he is... Yeah, absolutely amazing.
He is pitch perfect. He jumped right off the page, and that's amazing. Hats off to that actor. Arseface is perfect, and the fact that they deliver Arseface, without a wink and a nod, they just kind of show him off, and that's that. And I'm like, wow, they actually went for it. They actually pitched a show where, yes, we're going to have a guy who basically has a sphincter for a face.
Yeah, and they get points for blowing up Tom Cruise.
That too, you get all the points in the world for blowing out Tom Cruise. It's hilarious. I watched the show with someone else, and I'm like, oh god, we're coming to our space. We're coming to our space. They were just shocked, and they're like, what is the hell is that?
Well, you see, he tried to blow his face off, and it didn't go very right.
I had to stop and tell them. I had to give them the historical context. I'm like, okay, you got to remember, this comic was written in the '90s. Like, right after Kurt Cobain shot himself in the face, and this guy was like a crazy Kurt Cobain fan who, in tribute, thought to shoot himself in the face, but he couldn't do it. I wonder what they're going to do with the show, because the show doesn't look to take place in the 90s. The show looks to take place contemporary. I wonder if his origin is going to be the same or what.
Yeah, it's going to be really weird. I could see them doing the same thing, like he's one of those kids that found out about Nirvana and Kurt Cobain and everything and has become like a mega fan after the fact.
Which would actually kind of make him even more pathetic that he shot himself in the face, like, decades after the fact. Yeah, I mean, like, again, like we said, it's not the comic. Perhaps one of the biggest departures they have is that while the Preacher comic book was like a road trip, like a great American road trip, the show seems to plant their feet very firmly at the end of the first episode and go, nope, we're not leaving Anvil, Texas. We are going to stay right here.
Yeah, I think they might leave it, like, maybe towards the end of the season. Do we know how long the season is?
No. How long is The Walking Dead? I imagine it's going to be as long as The Walking Dead.
Oh god, so like 20-something episodes, and please don't make it like The Walking Dead.
When I was watching the Preacher premiere, I could not help but compare it in my mind to The Walking Dead, and I almost had to respect it because I'm like, okay, unlike The Walking Dead, they're letting you know right at Front Street this is not going to be shot for shot like the comic, where Walking Dead, the first episode, is literally shot for shot. They get you into a false sense of security, and only later do they start betraying the material.
Yep. They start sort of, I guess, running out of material.
Yeah, that too. And the thing too with material is that, unlike Walking Dead, that is still going on right now and arguably you could say was prolonged by the success of the show. I have to wonder if what's-his-face, Walking Dead guy would have ended the comic were it not for the massive success of the TV show. Preacher has an end, is the thing. It only has so many volumes, and assumedly the show can only have so much material before they eventually have to call it quits.
Yeah, I imagine that. Or, like, I just hope they don't go the way, like, what Walking Dead did with that Fear the Walking Dead, and we get, like, a Cassidy spin-off or a Tulip spin-off. Well, I don't want that.
There were a couple book one-shots, and I mean, I don't know about you. I would watch a show about the Saint of Killers if they wanted to do something with the Saint of Killers.
I imagine that'd be an episode in the show, maybe like season 2 or something.
Saint of Killers probably one of the only major characters who didn't show up in the first episode. That was another thing about the pilot where it's like, oh my god, you guys are really getting all the characters in one episode, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's like, hey guys, here's Tulip, here's her deal, here's Cassidy, here's Hair Star and the Grail, and I'm like, you're just cramming them all in, aren't you?
Yeah.
Where meanwhile the comic is so slow to start as, they start bringing in all the different characters. But yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I really don't. I'm kind of fascinated by it, and I almost feel like I need to watch episode 1 again, because I'm like, look, because I can't stop comparing it to the comic. Now, that being said, I did a fun little experiment. I watched it with someone who has never read the comic, and they were right the fuck into it.
Yeah, I've got friends that I go and do TV with that watched it as well, and really liked it and everything. They don't know. They didn't even know it was based on a comic.
Which makes me think maybe that will make it a Walking Dead style success, and that is the fact is that they have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah, it's accessible.
It's very accessible. And I mean, Jesus, as much as I love the comic Preacher, it's not an accessible comic. You have to you have to be like, look, this is when it was written, this is who wrote it, this is what it's about, this is where we're going. You have to accept a lot of stuff, where the show, again, takes a lot of that and makes it, more accessible, like you said. I really dig that they got the line, probably one of my favorite lines from the comic that Jesse's dad says, where he's like, you got to be a good man, son, because there's so many ways to be a bad one.
Yeah.
Which is such a beautiful line. I like it. Or Cassidy saying, geez, that sounds like the first line to the worst country song ever written. That's funny. That's really funny. So, geez, there's a little Preacher talk, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. See, I knew Matt would have seen the show, and I knew I would have been able to talk to him about it.
Yeah, I was eagerly awaiting it since it was announced.
How cool is it, too, that Steve Dillon and Garth Ennis are executive producers on the show?
Yeah, that's a good sign as well.
That is a good sign that kind of had their blessing on it, because I get the feeling Ennis hasn't really sold his stuff to anything else, so I would feel like that he must have seen something in this show to sign off on it.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess that's really why he's also allowing Rogen and Goldberg to do The Boys as well.
Which how fucking insane is that it's Seth Rogen and his writing partner Evan Goldberg who brought this to us.
I know, it's when I saw his name, I keep thinking, like, how? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Because you, like, look at, like Seth Rogen's new movie's just out, that Neighbors 2.
Which is great, by the way.
He's, like, smoking weed and, like, throwing Zac Efron around and everything.
Getting hit by airbags.
He's, like, producing and writing Preacher as well.
Well, here's the thing, and I was examining this, and if when I do a review I'm going to mention this, it's actually not so weird when we examine the career of Seth Rogen, why he would be into something like this. Obviously, he's a huge nerd, that goes without saying. I mean, just fucking look at him. You look at stereotypical nerd in the dictionary and you would see Seth Rogen. But also, when you look at movies he's done and movies he's been really passionate about, stuff like This Is the End, and even something like Observe and Report, which wasn't a great movie, but it was a real dark comedy with like Looney Tunesian style gags and jokes to it. I think he's a fan of comedy violence, and I think that strikes a chord with him in Garth Ennis's work. So maybe in a weird way, he was the right guy to do it.
Yeah, and he also played like Green Hornet as well.
Fucking Green Hornet.
I like that movie.
Do you really? See, I watched the first half of it, and I'm like, I'm good.
It's got some really cool scenes in it.
It does have some cool scenes in it, and it does mark the first time, like in a Hollywood movie history, when other superhero projects stopped trying to be Batman and everyone started trying to be Iron Man.
Yeah.
They try super hard to make the Green Hornet into Iron Man in that one. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
man, there was a thing, obviously because Seth Rogen and hit girl Chloe Grace Moretz, they're going around for... for promotion for Neighbors 2, and they did a thing on the BBC, like a big BBC radio show, and one of the bits they do on that is when they have two celebrities, they get them into insult competitions where it's like they have to insult each other back and forth, and first one to laugh loses. And him and Chloe Grace Moretz really get into it, and she's like, you look homeless, you smell, and they keep going back and forth about it, and there's a point where I'm like, see, if I was in her shoes, I would say Green Hornet was not a good movie.
It's like, you were in Green Hornet.
And then he would cry, which is funny because he makes that joke in This Is the End. Danny McBride says, yeah, you know what, I haven't cried like that since I paid money to go see Green Hornet. So even he knows that was a bad idea. Yeah, this concludes the Seth Rogen portion of the show. Everyone, be sure to come back next week. Did you see Neighbors 2? Actually, I saw it by.
I haven't. I don't think it's out yet. I'm going to the movies this weekend, but I'm going to go see The Nice Guys.
Ah, there you go.
Because that movie looks awesome, and it's Shane Black.
It does, so it probably will be. I saw Neighbors 2 totally by accident. You see, I thought X-Men came out here this week. It doesn't.
Oh, it came out for me.
Yeah.
It came out.
Comes out for you guys everywhere else, and I'm at the theater, and I'm like, well, fuck, it's not today? Ooh, Neighbors 2, I'll go see that. I was going to see that anyway.
Neighbors 2 looks the better movie.
It's really funny. It probably has the better message, too. It probably has the better message about understanding and acceptance.
Yeah. X-Men Apocalypse was fucking boring.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. Everyone's saying it was boring as shit, which is hilarious because all the trailers are like explosions and natural disasters, and look at
Yeah, well,
this.
Apocalypse does nothing but give speeches
That's unfortunate.
and makes Magneto destroy outfits.
I've read a couple reviews there where it's like, yep, and this is the part or this is the point where the X-Men franchise ran out of steam again. After 2 movies of trying to retcon everything back to a status quo they can work with, it's like, well, what do we do now?
Wolverine.
Wolverine, I guess. Oh yeah, I hear Wolverine has a really shameless cameo in this. Like they
Oh,
take a 20-minute
the movie
detour.
stops. The movie literally stops for them to say, "Look, it's Wolverine. He's gonna escape the place and go back to X-Men 1."
In every X-Men movie, it looks like, okay, is this the one where we finally start distancing ourselves from Wolverine? And in every movie,
Nope.
it's like, nope.
What's even funny about that scene is that he's dressed like Weapon X, with like the
Oh.
headgear and everything,
Oh.
but he doesn't have the visor. The visor has been like cut off, so you can see Hugh Jackman's face.
Oh, jeez.
Because like if they had the visor on, they could have just done it with a stunt guy.
They could have gotten anybody, but we paid for Hugh Jackman, so Hugh Jackman's going to be in it.
Yeah, and then same with like Quicksilver, he's just there for a scene.
I'm still going to go in with an open mind, but I got to admit everything everyone said makes me really worried. Now that being said, I enjoyed Days of Future Past more than just about anybody.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, so here's hoping going forward that that it can be worthwhile. And also, who the fuck is calling me on Skype right now? Don't you know it's showtime? Don't you know 10 o'clock is Comic Multiverse Day? Gonna tell this person off. Not right now. Hey guys, doing Comic Multiverse. Call back later. Now,
There's some like Skype like telephone salesman.
yeah, really. It's like, hey, are you happy with your long distance care? I'm on Skype. Oh,
It's free. Oh, sorry.
well, hey, are you happy with your vacuum cleaner? I'm on Skype. Leave me alone. Now, believe it or not, we've talked for almost 30 minutes, and we actually do have some news to discuss as well. So, did you hear that the CW TV duo, that's Jeff Johns, and I forget the other dude's name, not Berlanti, but one of the other dudes involved in all the CW superhero shows.
Yeah, John Berg, I think his name
Yeah,
is.
thank you, John Berg. They got massive promotions. It's funny. This news hit like the night my computer broke, and I remember reading this, and I'm like, damn, I would have loved to have made a video out of this. But yes, they have gotten major promotions now within the DC Warner Brothers movie department, and they are supposedly, going to help oversee the future of the DC cinematic universe.
Yeah, well, that's what we thought until Jeff Johns came out today and said and sort of like clarified his role.
Literally moments before we started recording did this hit.
Yeah, and it sounds like he's got no real power.
He says, my job is to help the movie makers communicate with DC Comics, is what he says. Now, what does that mean? Could mean anything.
Yeah, and I'm going to take that as I'm going to coordinate with the movies, the TV, and the games, because he mentions the games as well, into what characters they can and can't use.
I would hope, now again, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. Looking at this positively, I would hope that means if ever they're going to do something really crazy that would completely and utterly undermine the integrity of a character, like, hey, we're going to have Batman shoot people and we're going to have Superman break a neck, I would hope that Jeff Johns would step in and go, no.
Yeah, guys, these characters don't do that.
I'm hoping that that's what his job is, to be the guy to slap the hands away and go, no, these characters are more than just comic characters, they are cultural icons, and you can't have a cultural icon do something like this. You wouldn't have Jesus do dick jokes, and you wouldn't have Superman break a neck.
No.
I don't know, man. Now that I talk about Jesus doing dick jokes, I think that would be a good pitch. The Adventures of Dick Joke Jesus, starring Joel. Matt can direct. We haven't found a writer yet, but we will.
It writes itself.
It basically does. Hey, apostles, here's my dick. Not the only thing that rose on the third day.
Oh.
See, this shit writes itself. It's easy. Obviously, before this news broke about how much actual power Jeff Johns had, the thing that had made me afraid moving in is where I'm like, ooh, this seems like way too many cooks in the kitchen. This seems like way too many guys jockeying for power. This might not make the movies better. In fact, it might make it worse if a bunch of people are fighting each other.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's like another thing. Like as you said, too many cooks, and like he could be in those conversations and just say like, "Hey guys, Superman doesn't do this." But like if say like Snyder and the president of WB movies says that like he doesn't matter anymore, and
He
they're gonna
does
go
now.
with they're gonna go they like outvote him sort of.
Yeah.
Like I could just see that happening.
It sounded to me like movie making by committee. Now, obviously, this isn't exactly true anymore. Another issue that stuck out to me before John's really clarified, and that is well, we've seen the disdain that movie people have for comic writers and for TV writers. Jeff Johns is both of these things.
Yeah.
Where it's like, fuck off, comic boy, fuck off, TV boy. This is movies. This is where the big boys play. And for people thinking that I'm being over the top, I'm really not. There's a lot of animosity between people who work in different stratas of entertainment.
It's really weird because they
Very.
all essentially do the same thing.
Well, never say that to someone because they're like, no, goddamn it, film is much harder than TV. And TV guys would be like, no, goddamn you, TV is harder than film. And the fighting would just go on and on endlessly. Like, for people who have asked the reason, where it's like, well, how come they never get comic people involved in making comic book movies? Because they don't want them there, that's why.
Yeah.
As horrible as that sounds. Paul Dini quite famously tells stories about this if you ever listen to the stuff he's done. He's pitched ideas for Batman movies several times, with the clout that even he has and the fan love he has behind them, and multiple times people have been like, no.
Yeah, you write cartoons, so you're not important.
Yeah, you write cartoons and comics. We're not going to trust you with this, silly fat man. Go back to your magician wife. That's not a joke either, actually. Paul Dini is married to a magician. Her name is Misty. She's a real-life Zatanna. Fucking Paul Dini's a hero, man. I'm going to say that right now. Paul Dini is living life the right way. Now, some other stuff we had going on. Again, it's a big DC-centric episode this week, if you couldn't tell everybody. Another piece of news that came out this week, DC got a new logo, and it changed across all of their platforms.
Yeah, it's really reminiscent of their old 70s logo.
Sure is.
And it's okay. It's two letters in a circle,
Yeah, I like it better than the other one. It looks, looks better, looks cooler.
Yeah, I didn't like that the one they brought in for the new 52. It was like peeled back on a D sort of thing. It looked really
a little tacky. Yeah.
Yeah, over-designed.
You have to wonder, too, if going back to an older, more classic type of logo, if this is them, kind of reacting to Rebirth and being like, no, we're going back to older, more classic, like era in DC Comics when we had a logo that looked more like this.
It totally is.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're working from the bottom up and changing everything for the better, or at least trying to encapsulate why people liked you and the stuff that you do. And, a logo is a great way to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue that much like the new 52, the new logo was needlessly trendy and throughout a lot of the history.
Yeah, and overly designed.
Overly designed. It's like, well, what was wrong with your old logo? What was wrong with your old everything? Damn it, we're reactionary. That's what's wrong. But now, believe it or not, too, as you know, we're on the DC bandwagon, and believe it or not, this is kind of a DC love show, because later on we're going to be talking about the best and worst that the new 52 had to offer, because really, Matt, when are we going to get a chance to do this again?
In 6 years, probably.
In 5 to 6 years when they do this all over again. But until then, it's all happy sunshine and good feels. But obviously, this week's, we record this Monday, so Wednesday, when you're listening to this show on YouTube, if you're listening to it on YouTube for the first time, the 80-page giant DC Rebirth penned by Jeff Johns will be coming out.
Yep, really excited for it. I ordered the Gary Frank variant.
Oh, it's going to be good. I didn't order anything, but it's going to be good.
Oh, I only ordered it because, here, usually comics are really expensive. But that obviously because this one was like what $2.99 or something.
Something like
Like
that.
here that relates to about $5. So I'm
Ma-
like, oh, 80 pages for $5. I'm gonna get that.
Man alive, is fucking Wednesday gonna be a huge day for comics. We got DC Rebirth basically setting the stage for the future of the DC comic universe. We got Darkseid War number 50. That's finishing finally.
Wow, yeah, I remember I saw that in the solicitations, like for what was coming up this week, and right, it's really only getting to issue 50 now.
Only getting to issue 50 now. It'll still have 2 more before it's done.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. We're going to be well into Rebirth when this comic is still going.
And I'm pretty sure the last 2 issues are only Green Lantern centric.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's because we got to see how Jesse Cruz becomes the new Green Lantern.
Oh, I thought they were going to do that in Rebirth.
No, I think she gets it. I think she gets it at the end of Justice League.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all right, whatever. Nothing against Jesse Cruz. It just seems like for the Justice League book, you could do more stuff or better use of your time. Is all we're saying.
Yeah.
It's not like she's gonna get her own book where you can do these things. But yeah, so that's going to be a thing. We got the, I guess, death of New 52 Superman, which is going to be happening in Superman number 52.
Yeah. The previews for the 80-page giant kind of spoiled that.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was actually going to happen in the 80-page giant.
Well, I guess we know. Now, obviously, for those listening to this now, a lot of particulars about DC Rebirth leaked out. Matt and I know what's going to happen. Matt and I are trying very hard to not spoil what's going to happen for those of you who weren't spoiled and who didn't read this. The sad truth is, Matt and I, because we work on the internet, because our job's the way it are, we were going to get spoiled regardless. So,
yeah.
So what follows now is Matt and I are going to attempt to talk about the leaks without actually talking about the leaks.
So the leaks, like... they're fucking insane.
Yes, they are.
But apparently,
I thought it was a joke when I heard what they're actually going to do and what the big twist of Rebirth number 1 is. I'm like, you are lying. Get out of my face. And
yeah,
then
apparently people who have read it like to review it because it's got like advanced copies out and people are already reviewing it. They've said it reads better in context without like just random posts on the internet.
As it would have to be is the thing. And yeah, like Matt's saying, Monday as we record this, basically all the big sites got a chance to read it early, and they have published glowing reviews on it.
So, yeah, like loads of 10 out of 10s.
Yeah, so I'm not scared. I'm a little jealous, though, because why the fuck don't we at the Comic Multiverse get advanced copies? We're good. We deserve it. But yeah, so, they said it works much better in that, as it would have to be. And it's also such a Jeff Johnsian idea, what they end up doing. I have to wonder, is this going to be one of those situations where this twist works well within the context of this Jeff Johns written book, but will other writers abuse this twist?
Yeah, that's going to be the thing going into Rebirth, whether they keep in like the upcoming Rebirth one-shots, whether they keep hammering home that this particular thing happened and like these people are now in this universe now, so you're going to see them in this book, I
don't want to see what Scott Lobdell and Red Hood and the Outlaws does with this. I really do. I don't want a particular character to show up there and be like, hey, you guys are dark and gritty, I'm dark and gritty too, sentence fragment.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I try to explain to people that these particular characters, since this takes place after that particular book...
Yes.
Are dead.
Right, so a lot of them
there's no real way they can come in.
As is probably the case, too, because many of these characters have counterparts in the DC universe.
Yes.
I'm not spoiling much, and how fucked up would it be if these counterparts met each other? What would you even do in a universe where you had all these people running around?
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be really weird to see.
Problematic doesn't even touch it, is what I would say. Some other stuff. Another particular character, a fan favorite who people have been demanding their return for a very long time. They are also coming back, and they, from what I can understand, seems to be like the point of view character for this DC Rebirth. They sort of walk you through it, which I think is an awesome idea to choose this specific character to be that person.
Yeah, and also, it was only Jeff Johns could do this with this character.
because he owed it to that character, really,
Yeah.
when you stop and think about it.
Yeah.
He really owed it to that character. I love it for the people who don't know the leak and they're sitting here trying to figure out by our words, but who are they talking about?
Yeah, what character is it? Who does Jeff Johns owe to?
Yeah, and they're like going through his backlog, and it's like, okay, who could he be talking? He's either talking about this one or this one.
Yeah.
Some other crazy stuff too. Apparently, the multitude nature that is affecting heroes now might also be affecting villains. And one particular villain may actually have not one, but 4 counterparts running around.
Yeah, 4 or 3.
I think it was 3. I think maybe the one I was reading was overselling and being like, and there's 4.
Or maybe they count the actual New 52 one plus 3 others.
Ah, right. There you go. And if that's the case, you have to wonder, especially for a character in this case where everyone has a different take on this villain, it would be really interesting if one was like Old 52 pre-crisis, one was like from a very particular story that people love, and one was maybe like a more flamboyant Silver Age version of said character. I think that would be a great way to have your cake and eat it too, actually.
You know, well, like the way I've heard sites explain it is that it's all one character, but throughout the years he's had different personalities or something.
Which fits with this character's history, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's gone from like the flamboyant one to the more dark and edgy to the New 52 one, and
to perhaps a version that gets more in line with a certain movie that's coming out very soon.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad design, actually. I saw the designs for it. They actually cut out a lot of the crap that movie version had and kind of make them a lot slicker. I'm like, you know what? That's how he should have looked in the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm already liking you, DC Rebirth, because you made a kind of crappy design look much better. Good on you guys. Okay, so that's pretty much as we can talk about DC Rebirth without straight up spoiling it. Obviously, when you come back next week for the show, Matt and I will be able to talk this to death because we'll have read it by then.
Yeah, and we will have also fan reactions as well to see, because these particular characters that get introduced are characters that people have loved and cherished because they've been on their own in their own sort of thing. So it's going to be interesting to see the lay of the land once it's come out that these characters are now involved in the DCU.
It's fucking balls out nuts. It's so nuts. I'm actually surprised they haven't tried to pitch something like this sooner, is the thing. Because these are characters that are very popular and characters that I'm sure make a lot of money, but not as much money as Batman and Superman and the ones who have stories that are ongoing.
Yeah, well, that's like when I first saw it, I saw like, oh, well, they're doing this for the shock value to sell comics. But I'm thinking like, well, then it's also sort of could be something they've been planning for a while.
Perhaps.
And it's like half and half.
I gotta wonder, too, with these characters getting a bigger push now, I wonder what a particularly old, curmudgeonly, crusty comic creator feels about this. I really want someone to reach out to this person, but because this person is the way they are, they're not gonna give any interviews about this.
Yeah, especially now as well.
No, especially not now. I just, don't be surprised if that person, dies of a heart attack or rolls over in their grave or something. We're just saying that this might kill a human being is all we're saying.
Yes.
God damn, I would love to see the confused look on people's faces as they try and decipher.
You're like, what the hell is going on?
Decipher our code speak that we're going on. Well, you see Victor Hugo Charlie. Well, you see Skizzer 61. With that out of the way, I guess we can talk about where we would usually talk about what we read this week. But as I said to Matt earlier, I thought the latter half of the comic multiverse this week should be dedicated to the best and worst comics of the New 52 cycle. Because honestly, when are we going to get a chance to talk about this again?
Nah, never.
Never again. The New 52 comes but once, so we have to talk about it. And I mean, really, for you and me, the New 52 marks an important benchmark in both of our online careers because that was DC when we started reviewing comics online.
Yeah, it was just that right time where online comic reviews was starting to take off, and yeah.
Well, I mean, there had always been online comic reviews, but until you and I came along and
Or
made them
fan ones, not like big site ones.
yeah, until Matt and I came along and changed the game, you see, and made it good. You see, you can break down comic book reviews on YouTube into two categories: pre-Matt and Joel and post-Matt and Joel. Great. Now that I have bent over and thoroughly sucked my own dick a little bit. Which no fan art of that, please. I know I'm always asking for fan art. Please, no fan art.
Well, now someone's gonna do fan art of that.
Of me sucking my own dick. Marilyn Manson and Prince, just taking a couple ribs out there so you can get on down. That's the rumor, everybody. To help us out on this one as we look back on the best and worst of the New 52, I pulled up Newsarama, who did pretty comprehensive top 10 lists on the thing. We're gonna use this as like a jumping off point, really. Matt and I are gonna sub in our own series that we liked and disliked, and also I'm gonna add the extra caveat on this because I see that these lists are thoroughly cheating. When we say goodbye to the New 52, which is the title of this episode, what I really mean is ones that came out as part of the New 52 were under the banner. Nothing after DCU is applicable, because I personally count that as another thing onto itself. And I mean, really, looking back at it now, DCU is just a fucking holding pattern.
Yeah. What the fuck was even DCU?
What an interim thing was that? Where it's like Batmech and Powerless Superman, God of War, Wonder Woman. We guess. You feel like, was that a shakeup? Was that like them getting their feet wet for DC Rebirth? You think, where it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, this is like the Rebirth Alpha, and then they went back and fixed all the bugs and everything. And
yeah. I guess starting one off here on the Newsarama list they had here, at number 9 they had Animal Man from Jeff Lemire, and I think this was the book that really introduced a lot of people to Jeff Lemire. I know this was when I first started reading him.
Yeah,
I really liked it. It was a strong horror universe. It was a great companion piece to the Swamp Thing book that was written by Scott Snyder. People forget that Scott Snyder wrote that book early on.
Yeah.
Built up this whole idea of the red and the green as these biospheres that surround us all and people can draw their powers from. What a great idea, and what a great jumping off point for a horror side of the DC universe that they just killed afterwards.
Yeah. The horror side of the DC universe is like really weird, but like in that good way.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, they just killed it off with them when they killed like Justice League Dark and everything, which was another great book as well.
They just could not maintain a magical universe. They just couldn't maintain a Vertigo side of their universe, could they?
Yeah, and that really would have set them apart from like Marvel and everything, because Marvel were doing all like space cosmic stuff.
Yeah, go the other way
at the time. So yeah, just do all like horror, macabre stuff.
What a crying shame, but that still doesn't change the fact that Animal Man was great, and I think moving forward they're gonna try and build a corner for the Vertigo and for the horror stuff in DC Rebirth, if only it's just the Constantine book, because they say, like, literally in Hellblazer, in the newest arc, he's going to team up with Swamp Thing to go find Abigail Arcane, so there you go.
Yeah.
Moving on for some more books there. I never even read this one on their worst list. Larfleeze. Did you read Larfleeze?
No.
I guess that's why it's on the bad list. I mean, it's one of the few Green Lantern books that actually got canceled, so it must have been bad. Like, maybe that was just one crossover too many.
Yeah, because this was like during the time where they had like almost every Lantern Corps had a book.
Yeah, there was like a dozen of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and then again, like the Magic Realm, they sort of pulled back the cosmic stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that series seemed to be making money like hand over fist, Green Lantern, but Larfleeze, everyone just said no. Everyone just put their feet in the sand and said no to Larfleeze.
Yeah, and I don't think he's appeared in comics very much since.
You read more Green Lantern than me, so...
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think. Like, he's a character who I don't really care about.
No, mine. That's all I know. Mine.
Yeah, that's all I know as well. And I think he's in like some of the more recent Green Lantern stuff, like some of the Green Lantern core books. But yeah, other than that, I don't think he's really been anything, really.
We're going to piss off so many Larfleeze fans. I bet in the comic Multiverse Universe, there's one really hardcore Larfleeze fan.
Is like, hey man, I collected the whole series twice.
Hey, man, if I can find a way to piss off our more right-wing listeners every week, I'm sure I can find a way to piss off the more Green Lantern-centric fans.
That's our superpower,
That
Joel.
is our super. Did you read that last week? A commenter was really mad at me because I made fun of Trump and I made fun of the state of American politics right now. Yeah, I know. It's silly. It's super silly. The guy's like, hey, you and Matt should just stick to comics because you don't live in America, so you don't know what's going on. You just hear stuff in the news, and the news is biased. I'm like, okay, I'll stop listening
Okay,
to
man.
I'll stop listening to the news then, and I'll stop breathing air and drinking water. Well, where am I supposed to get my information from if not from the news?
I'll stop listening to the news even though I work in a news studio.
Yeah, really. Tell man, you need to start listening to Rush Limbaugh and Fox. They tell the truth.
Yeah, and Alex Jones, man, he's telling the truth, man.
Yeah, Alex Jones. Listen to Alex Jones and Billy Corgan. They know what's up. Freaking Billy Corgan, man. Okay, now here's another book. Back onto the best bent right here. Would you count Multiversity as part of the New 52?
I would because it came out before DCU.
Yeah, and it was also like in development way longer too.
Yeah, I would, but it is kind of its own thing
It
because
is.
yeah, it doesn't really feature anyone from the New 52. It features characters from the multiverse, but it's Grant Morrison, so it's good.
It's true, and I know that's kind of a hot button pick because I know some people are like, well, I just didn't like it because it was impenetrable, and that's fine. You know what? I go into a Grant Morrison book knowing full well I'm probably not gonna understand it because I'm not on near as many drugs as he used to be on.
Yeah, also this one might also have to do with certain beings that are in DC Rebirth as well.
This is true because you have to, you kind of have to agree, love it or hate Multiversity. It did sort of lay the groundwork, this and Convergence, for the multiverse coming back and for stuff that we're going to be seeing in Rebirth.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, I'll dig it just for a certain story they did wherein they took the Charleston heroes and put them in a Watchmen universe, but, like, had it today instead of the 80s. I thought that was friggin' brilliant.
Yeah. That what one was that called? Pax Americana or
Yes,
something?
it was.
Yeah, and they had the Nazi Superman one, which was awesome.
That was also great. There was a lot of great little ones in there. Onto the bad side, and this is a book that I would say is actually in a club all of its own, and that is a book that got better as time went on and actually looks to be, pretty interesting heading into the New 50, or I'm still calling it the New 50, Rebirth. That book is Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Well, I never read it, so you can probably just talk about it.
New Suicide Squads, or just Suicide Squad in general, sucked from the first issue onward. It was super edgy team, be edgy. It was, man, look how sexy Harley Quinn is now that we're making her wear what is essentially her Arkham universe outfit.
Yeah.
Even though that makes no sense because in the Arkham universe that was a costume she cobbled together.
Mm-hmm.
Its first issue where they're all being held captive as part of a training exercise, that's literally ripped off from Secret Six. In fact, King Shark was only on the team because of Secret Six. Because they wanted to try and make something close to that. Another problem with this book, they couldn't keep a regular writer to save their goddamn lives. Apparently, working on that book was as dangerous as being on the actual Suicide Squad.
The writers were always killed. They had their heads exploded when they would try to do something cool.
So you had a dozen arcs that went absolutely nowhere, stupid hanging plot threads. Dude, freaking Deadshot died twice in that, and he was brought back different times. And then, like, heading into Forever Evil and, like, Trinity War, there was a story where it's like, hey, well, Deadshot, you and Waller got brought back to life, so now you're going to die. And then that story got dropped because that guy wasn't writing the book anymore. There was some cool shit there. Alice Cott had like a twofer on there before he went to go work for Marvel. He had a really interesting twofer of a story where James Gordon Jr. actually started working for the Squad as tech support. And as like a psychology guy trying to like control the team without blowing up their heads. That was clever. And then he had like an Oedipal crush on Waller. I would have loved to have seen where that went, but no, another writer just thrown to the side. Now, weirdly enough, Suicide Squad, like I said, got better when Sean Ryan took it over in the new Suicide Squad era. That actually started getting interesting, where he actually started telling stories about the team and the dirty dealings of Waller and the government. There was a great bit where they fought an ISIS-like group, and they had a great send-off for the Reverse Flash in that. That was good, but it started off really shitty and was practically unreadable for a good long time.
Yeah, what do you think the Rebirth Suicide Squad will be like?
It'll be the movie. I've already read what is essentially the zero.
That's true.
issue.
I keep forgetting about that. It's just like, oh yeah, they'll make it like the movie.
It's literally the same team from the movie now. Katana is on it. If you've been reading that Most Wanted miniseries, they actually explain how she hooked up with the Suicide Squad and how she changed her costume. So at least they explained it somewhere.
Okay, so she didn't just appear.
Yeah, she didn't just appear.
Costume.
They actually explained it, which good for them for actually explaining it. Also, Jim Lee is going to be doing the art on that book, so even if it sucks, it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
Another book, I think a kind of an underrated book, I would say this is like DC's answer to Superior Spider-Man in a way that it's an idea everyone hated at first until they read it and kind of came around to it, and that would be Grayson.
Yeah, I read the last couple of issues since it tied in with Midnighter, and pretty good.
Really fun, really cool spy book. Tim Seeley, super irreverent type writer who made it fun is the thing. Like, anyone could say, yeah, make Dick Grayson into a spy, but he made it fun and made it cool and populated the book with so many interesting characters. Like the St. Hadrian's Girls are really fun. Helena Bertinelli is fun. Tiger, his partner out in the field, is cool. They did a whole story about gun violence, and people were really mad when they looked at the cover because Dick Grayson was carrying a gun on. They did a whole story about the evils of guns and Dick trying to conflate what was happening to him working as a spy and everything Batman taught him. Really interesting. This one actually kind of has the opposite problem of Suicide Squad, and that is that this one started great, but ever since Tim Seeley left, obviously to work on new, better Batman projects and the new Nightwing, this book kind of went to hell after he left. I have not enjoyed the last 2 issues.
Yeah?
I haven't enjoyed the last 2 issues. It sucks that it looks like it's going to trip at the finish line.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But this one's sort of carrying over into the new Nightwing book.
It looks like they're going to go there eventually. By the end
Yeah.
of Grayson, it looks like he'll probably put the costume on again.
Okay, cool.
They haven't decided if they're going to explain how everyone forgets that his identity got leaked to the world. They did say in Batman and Robin Eternal they had a big satellite. Now, I loved Batman and Robin Eternal too, so I would add that to the goods pile as well. For more information on that, go back and listen to me rave about it. Now on the bad side, here's a book I'm going to bet a lot of people forgot from the beginning of New 52, and that is Hawk and Dove from Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, I did. I completely forgot about this.
With good reason too. Who the fuck wanted to read Hawk and Dove?
Yeah, by Rod Liefeld.
Yeah, how does that man keep getting work? The only reason Hawk and Dove are even somewhat sort of, mentionable now is that they moved them over to the Titans book, because obviously, Hawk has a long history with them.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when Rob Liefeld left that book, too, he left it in a huff, remember, and he said, people don't like you, Scott Snyder, they only buy the book for Batman, not for you.
He was wrong.
So a bad book and a bad thing that he left in a total huff over. Wah, wah. Another book I think we can admit was great, Justice League. Now, I came late to Justice League, Jeff Johns' Justice League book. I didn't read it right out of the gate. I was not a fan of the war storyline when it all started because I thought it was way too Batman and Green Lantern-centric. Yep. I started picking it up after Trinity War, and I would say after that it ended up being pretty good.
Yeah, it started picking up pace after Trinity War. Trinity War was kind of bullshit, but
Trinity War was kind of bullshit. That was a big nothing event just to set up Forever Evil. But there was good stories within Justice League. I loved what he did with the Amazo virus. I really dug Lex Luthor joining the team. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that stuff's cool, and it seems to be also going into Rebirth as well. Oh, so that's going to be really interesting.
Throne of Atlantis. That was a Justice League.
Oh, that was amazing.
That was amazing. That was the first real big event where I'm like, okay, I like the New 52 now. I dig where this is going.
Yeah, that was amazing, and they ruined it when they made that animated show.
Oh, that animated movie. That was sad. That was bad. Heck, even Darkseid War, we were right into when it started. I mean, it's gone on a little too long, but yeah, it was good.
It should have finished by now.
It didn't need to be this long for everything that they were going on for. The art was beautiful in it. The action was great in it. Yeah, Jeff Johns' Justice League had a lot going on with it. Interested to see Brian Hitch is going to be taking over it, especially because his JLA book isn't done yet.
Yeah, I was just about to mention the JLA book, because that book is also amazing. It's really good Superman centric story, so I like it
It's funny,
automatically.
we've had two JLA books since the New 52 started. There was that, and then there was like the 5 issues of JLA that Jeff Johns wrote in the lead up to Trinity War. Then that book changed hands, and then we got another one where it was everyone in the DC universe was a member of the JLA, and it just wasn't nearly as good.
Yeah.
That was unfortunate. I don't like that. Another book that kind of sucked and was canceled for a long time for a reason. Deathstroke. Remember Deathstroke?
Yeah, I remember him.
I remember Kyle Higgins wrote the first couple issues of Deathstroke, and when I interviewed him, even Kyle Higgins was like, "What the fuck was I thinking?" He basically told that to me, where he's like, "Yep, that was stupid. I shouldn't have done that." Also, when they brought Deathstroke back again in a new series, it's like, "Yeah, he's young now and he has both eyes. Are you interested?" Not really.
Yeah, and he sort of stuck around as well because he was on Arrow and everyone loved him on Arrow, so they thought, well, everyone must love him in comics.
Deathstroke is a cool character when he shows up in other stories. Again, Forever Evil. He's a fucking badass in Forever Evil.
Yeah, that one issue of American Alien he's in. Fucking amazing.
He's amazing in that too, but I don't care enough about him to actually read his stories. He is a cool villain for other people to fight.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't even really care about his family. That's what they tried to do in that new one, where it's like, yeah, but we're bringing back his daughter Ravager and Jericho and all these other kid characters, and we're going to try, make it all make sense. Only they couldn't because the Teen Titans had been royally screwed over in the New 52, so it was all just a mess.
Yeah.
It's funny too. I don't know if you've seen. He has a brand new costume going into DC Rebirth, which also looks great. He looks like a ninja again. They've finally gotten rid of all the stupid armor, and he's old again now.
Yeah.
Which is good, because that's how he should be. I will happily read that.
Yeah.
Some other good stuff we had going on here. Obviously, Scott Snyder's Batman, that goes without saying. That was great.
Yeah.
Never had a bad issue. Never had a bad issue the whole time. I'm sure you would say Jeff Johns' run on Superman, you were a big fan of that.
Yeah, that was amazing. And same with Grant Morrison's Action Comics stuff from like right at the beginning. That stuff, I know a lot of people didn't like it because, oh, why is Superman wearing jeans and the t-shirt? But it was a great story.
Sticking to Bat characters, Gail Simone's Batgirl I thought was wonderful, and I loved it. And the next one they did after just could not grab me the same way.
Yeah, that was that really weird one. Where wasn't she like part of a band or something? Or...
No, you're thinking of Black Canary.
Oh yeah.
No, this is where she just this was where she just moved to the hipster part of Gotham. And they made her look 12 years old and kind of undid all the growing she did in the Gail Simone arc.
Oh.
And I know some people really like that Cameron Stewart Batgirl. That's fine. Wasn't my cup of tea. I preferred the Gail Simone one where Barbara Gordon was an adult and had adult problems.
Yeah.
Maybe because I'm closer to an adult too, and yes, I understand that book was really dark and really menacing and really sinister and about PTSD, and probably not the best book to give to a young girl who would be interested in Batgirl. And for that, I say just make a spoiler book is all I would say. You could, if they literally recast this new Batgirl book with Stephanie Brown, it would have been fine, and I would have been all about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was my only real issue with it. But yeah, that was good. Batman and Robin never gets as much love as it deserves. I think Peter Tomasi is a real workhorse of the DC universe, and his work on Super League should show that.
Mm-hmm.
He put a lot of work in making Damian likable in the New 52, and then he missed the chance to kill him, but he did get a chance to bring him back.
Yeah.
That Robin Omega thing there, I really enjoyed that when Batman has to literally go to Apocalypse to bring his son back to life.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and he got like superpowers or something, and he had
for a little
Superman to try and like train him or something.
The fallout wasn't nearly as good as the journey, but his actual journey there, showing Batman is such a devoted parent, he will lie, cheat, and steal, and like move the heavens themselves to bring his son back to life. I thought was a really cool story. And man, they had so many cool team ups in that thing too, because with Robin gone, the book became Batman and Two-Face and Batman and Catwoman and Batman and Wonder Woman and Batman and Aquaman.
Yeah.
And that was really solid stuff for a bit. So yeah, those were two really great books from the New 52 that I'm going to remember. I guess moving on to some more bad stuff here. Ooh, you knew we had to talk about this, Red Hood and the Outlaws.
That was never good.
I really love that Newsarama, when they had their top 10 worst titles, Red Hood and the Outlaws is the poster child for bad books. And
terrible.
And I know every time I bring this up, there's usually a younger fan going, "Oh my god, it was awesome. What's wrong with you?" It probably would be awesome if I was your age. 13-year-old Joel probably would have eaten this stuff up, but I'm not 13-year-old Joel anymore. I'm 20 years old Joel now. I'm a crusty old man who wants some substance with my flair, who wants some sizzle or some steak with my sizzle. This book was none of that. This book was also more continued burying of the New 52. Oh, don't worry, we'll get or more burying of the Teen Titans in the New 52, and don't worry, we'll rake Scott Lobdell over the coals for that in a minute. Just really, really unfortunate. It continued to perpetuate this whole, it's like we know Jason Todd is really popular as Red Hood, but we can't let him be a villain, so we gotta make him an anti-hero who uses guns, even though that should by all right go against everything Batman taught him.
Yeah, that's all I see when people say they like Red Hood. Oh, because he's like so awesome, because he has like this red Iron Man mask.
He has a cool suit.
Guns.
There's no denying he has a cool costume, but there's nothing very interesting about him.
Yeah, that's all he is, a cool costume.
It got interesting for a second when, like, from issue 19 to 28, when I was reading it, when James Tynion took over, I'm like, okay, cool, this guy's going to put everything back in order. And it looked like he was. He gave the whole team a clean slate. He tried to write a story about why they were acting like jerks and everything for so long, and then they kicked him off the book because they decided they wanted Scott Lobdell back.
We want more extreme.
Because the hardcore audience didn't like all the talking that was going on. What's with all this talking and character development?
Yeah, we want Starfire in a bikini.
Yeah, we just want star titties is all we want.
And trucker hats and...
Friggin' trucker cap. I hate that the trucker cap isn't even gone in the new... or in Rebirth. Now he's just wearing it backwards, so now he's actually made the look even douchier. That was another reason I didn't like the book, because it continued to break up Green Arrow and his team. It broke up his family in a really hurtful way. And it sucked too, because over in the Green Arrow book, he was having an amazing run later on with Jeff Lemire. I would say that's like easily one of the top 5 best Green Arrow runs, that Jeff Lemire run, short-lived though it was.
Yep.
Kill Machine, The Outsiders, all of that was stellar. Yet again, man, Jeff Lemire gets a lot of love on this show, doesn't he?
He's a good writer.
Yeah, everything he touched was good for a little bit. I mean, he was killing it. He was bringing it. He was bringing the heat on that one. We did a couple good ones in a row. Let's do a bad one in the row. Oh boy, here's one I haven't talked about in a long time. Future's End. What the fuck was that?
It started off good. Like the first issue hooked him. Like, oh fuck, Grifter's here, and he's like shooting aliens and hunting them down.
Batman Beyond. Terry McGinnis was canon for a second.
Yeah, and fucking all these cyborg people, and like, who's this fucking Superman guy? And then it happened.
And then nothing, and then it all amounted to nothing in the end.
Yeah, literally nothing.
This, we were talking about too many cooks spoil a stew. This was way too many writers, good writers, mind you, all having to work together on a book that came out weekly, and it made no goddamn sense. It was completely, inconsistent, illogical, incomprehensible. It was bad. It was really bad. I can't believe it took a year to be done.
Yeah, I kind of want to go back and like reread it just to see how bad it is.
It's funny, as bad as it was, at least they had the common sense to start burying it even before it was done.
Yeah.
No writer talked about it on their Twitter feed. No writer tried to hype it up, their involvement. Everyone knew it was bad, even when they were working on it. The only thing you could kind of say that was good about it was Patrick Ziercher, who did the cover work for it. Amazing covers.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It would be like wrapping a dog turd in the finest candy shell. That's what it was. That's what Future's End was, a dog turd in a lovely candy shell. And it's funny, that happened at the same time, and like World's End happened at the same time. And they were all supposed to lead us to convergence, only they didn't really, because only the Earth 2 stuff actually mattered.
Yeah, only World's End actually mattered.
And while we're on the subject of Earth 2, how good was Earth 2 in the New 52?
It was so good. I loved it so much.
It was your favorite. You were the big cheerleader for it. You were raising the flag. You were delivering the good word of James Robinson and Earth 2. And I loved it too. I own most of the trades from the Robinson run.
Yeah, it's so good. And then like Tom Taylor took over and it got even better.
He did a really good... Some people would argue that he didn't, but I would agree with you, Matt. I think he did a very good job.
Yeah, I think he did a really good job. And then now it's on Earth 2 Society, which is written by Dan Abnett, so it's
which
even better.
which I don't love. I don't love Society.
Yeah,
See, Society made me drop it. Is the thing because I feel James Robinson made such this beautiful universe where it's like, yeah, it's all the Golden Age characters living together, only they're younger and everything, and it makes sense, and it's all the fun, cool adventures that the main universe couldn't really do because in the beginning of the New 52, everything was dark and gritty, and he made this great world that was like in the wake of a war is everything. And it reflected with the war that happened at the beginning of the New 52 for the Justice League. And it's like, yeah, we're just going to see a world in the wake of a war. And then another war started because we had to get to Convergence. I really would have liked to see the alternate reality where I feel they didn't have to rush that book. I feel there was a lot of good material that they just had to rush through because they wanted a new status quo.
Yeah, I could see that. And I know, like, that team up book, that World's Finest team up book, sort of acted as like a backstory for it for a couple of issues. Because I know we got like a bunch of issues that had like the Superman and Batman of Earth 2 that died during the Darkseid War,
Yep.
as the main characters, and it sort of had the background of like their sort of adventures before they died.
Yep. That was a cool idea. I like that. And I suppose too we can also talk about because we mentioned books we liked, books we didn't like. Let's talk about some books that are gone too soon because me being me, I championed quite a few books that were gone too soon.
Yeah, same.
All-Star Western, Jimmy Palmiotti, Justin Gray, fucking awesome series. If you love Jonah, I loved seeing him team up with other Western heroes. I loved seeing him come to the future. At least that book got to end on its own terms, if nothing else.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
What was another one you loved that was gone too soon?
Oh, I don't know where to start. There's so many,
Follow
and
your
I've
heart,
forgotten.
man.
Forgotten a couple of them. I don't know.
I mean, Midnighter is technically DCU, but let's count it anyway.
Well, that got to finish on its own.
It did.
Own terms
and a good
everything.
ending, too. We never talked about
Yeah.
it, but he got back together with Apollo, and everything was nice.
Yeah, and they look like they're gonna be sort of like a team, sort of maybe re-establishing Stormwatch or something.
Which would be cool. Did you like Superboy? I know Superboy went through a lot of ups and downs.
I liked it when Marv Wolfman took over.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it for a little bit. It was really cool. He had all these heroes sort of teaming up with Superboy. We had like, it was really weird because we got like legacy heroes of Green Lantern and Guardian on the team. So that was really interesting. And then it got like really shit.
Yeah.
And they sort of forgot about him. And it's like, oh, he's living in a monastery in Rome. And yeah.
It's funny, too, that during this
We
whole...
haven't seen him since.
It's amazing that during this whole Super League event, New 52 Superman is running around trying to rebuild the Superman family to look after the world when he's gone. Never thought to look for Superboy.
They never once fucking mentioned it. And that gets me sort of mad. And I'm like, come on, man.
Because Connor, fuck him, that's why. Fuck him with a kryptonite dick. Demon Knights. You remember Demon Knights?
Vaguely, yeah.
A lot of people really like Demon Knights. I never got into it. It was a little too high fantasy for me because everyone talked forsooth and forsaith I, like everyone was Ren Fair speaking it. I really wanted to get into it because it was a great idea for a team because it's like, we got Morgan Le Fay and we got Vandal Savage as a barbarian and we got Etrigan the Demon and Shining Knight, and I'm like, I should love this, and I kind of don't.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it sounds like a book that, like, it sounds amazing, high fantasy, but yeah, I could see why it could be a little bit inaccessible.
I know a lot of people put it on their on books that they loved and were gone too soon. I can't fault them for that. I agree. Another book I thought was gone too soon, Batwing. Batwing when Luke Fox took over. Yet again, another Jimmy Palmiotti, Justin Gray joint. Man, those guys just couldn't catch a fucking break, could they?
No, they couldn't.
At least Palmiotti and his wife got Harley Quinn, and that's like a new pillar, and that's never going away. But yeah, I loved the idea of a younger, hipper member of the Bat family who was like soloing on his own. And Palmiotti even basically said, yeah, I was just cribbing notes from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I wanted a Bat family member who had to be home by dinner time and who had like responsibilities. And I'm like, yeah, and it was great.
Yes, it's interesting take on like a Bat character.
It was too, and it was like an interesting idea too that Luke had a real father, unlike all the other orphans that Batman adopted.
Yeah.
And
He had a
Batman,
family, an
yeah,
actual real family.
he had a real family, not the weird cult family that Batman has.
Yeah.
And it was weird too because like they both had to keep his work as Batwing secret because not only would that, you know, really hurt his dad if he found out, but it would also ruin his relationship with Batman and Lucius Fox, who builds his tech and everything.
Yeah.
And that would be bad. He was kind of a ticking time bomb. I thought there was a lot of really fun, really cool stuff going on in that book, and I'm really sad that that one never got to make it. Another one kind of in the Bat family, Talon. How much did I love Talon?
Oh, you couldn't stop talking about him.
Dude, I thought Talon was going to be the brand new thing. I thought he was the new hotness. I'm like, man, you'll see in a couple years, everyone will be wearing Talon shirts. It'll be the Talon cinematic universe. You'll see. In fact, I'm reading a bunch of books here, or I'm reading a bunch of lists for best new 52 books, best new 52 series. No one has mentioned Talon on any of them because everyone just forgot about Talon. You know who didn't forget about Talon? Everyone who did the Eternal books from like Batman and Robin Eternal and Batman Eternal, because he shows up at the end of both those stories. Just to be like, hey everybody, I'm not dead. I loved his story. Raised as an assassin, raised by the Court of Owls, yet he broke away from them. He was an escape artist, yet he never killed anybody, and he remained super positive, and he had his own like universe and everything in his own side of the universe. I guess he got to join Batman Inc., but there's some more characters who are just kind of in the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Talon was great. I love Talon. Some people complain they didn't like Talon because it took away from the mystique of the Court of Owls, to which I say, no, it didn't. What's that over there?
Yeah. Another book I kind of missed, like at least at the end, was the Supergirl book.
Yeah. You said that one got quite interesting by the end.
Yeah, like just before she started losing her power, she was like out in space with like this weird sort of like space X-Men. And yeah, it got really interesting, and she obviously had like stories with her father, who was Cyborg Superman in the New 52, and yeah, that added a really unique dimension to it, and it's sort of carrying over into Rebirth as well, since he's going to be in her book, I believe.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm glad that she's getting a new book.
Talk about some more New 52 books that have been completely forgotten by everyone and never made it on any list, good or bad. Remember for a second there when DC Comics was like, yeah, we're going to be really hip with modern events and modern trends, and we're going to dust off an old series about a bunch of really rich people, a book about the 1% who saved the world, and that was Green Team Teen Trillionaires.
Oh, yeah.
That lasted like 5 issues, and they set that up as a sister book. The sister book to that was the Gail Simone written The Movement, which was, about the 99%, heroes on a budget and everything. And on paper, it seemed like a great idea. It was like, yeah, we'll have both people represented in 2 different books. And obviously, Green Team got canceled first, because fuck the rich. Fuck you being richer than me. I don't like you being richer than me.
Yeah, I remember when that came out and got announced, I thought, oh, this is pretty interesting. It's interesting sort of setup, especially since it's going to be in the DC universe. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was kind of crap.
Both books kind of fizzled out, and it's one of the few times where I was like reading a Gail Simone book where I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to read any more of this. It's funny, actually. There was a villain, Catharsis, who started in an issue of Batgirl, being like a leg breaker for one of the villains there, only to cross over and join the movement.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a nice touch. Actually, I'm pretty sure Gail Simone put another character in there, like a religious character who had demon powers. I think she put him on like the Council of Magical People in Secret Six.
Oh yeah.
So clearly she cares about the characters, and she's still moving them around and keeping them from being dead. The saddest thing about that, and I even said to myself going in, I'm like, okay, I'll read both of these books. And, the movement was as I thought it would be. It's like, yeah, it's young people activism. It was kind of a better version of We Are Robin, actually. They were the movement. They were Channel M. They, took security footage of corrupt police, and, they try and deliver justice, for the little guy who couldn't get it. It was a good setup. And I'm like, okay, I'll read the book about the rich heroes now.
Yeah.
And I promise I'll only keep reading it if they don't demonize the poor in the first issue. And literally in the first issue, they were fighting guys in pillow masks who were like, nah, we're poor, give us your money. And I'm like, okay, you screwed up already. You know, the movement didn't demonize the rich. The movement demonized, you know, the corrupting influence of money and the system that allowed the 1% to get over on everyone else. But no, that was unfortunate. So that was those two books lost to history and time. Can you think of any other books that we forgot about?
Um, I don't know, not
There
really.
was stuff.
Since he's kind of relevant now, the Firestorm book.
Oh, God, another Gail Simone joint that couldn't make it. Actually,
It was horrible anyway. So,
it wasn't great. Mr. Terrific had a book. You remember that?
oh my god, yes.
A book about a super smart black man. What do we do for the first arc? Take his smarts away.
Yeah, remember how he was like a big character in like Future's End and everything
Oh yes,
that led nowhere.
I sure do remember that. The Atom had a book for a little bit.
And Stormwatch had a book for a little
They
bit.
did.
There was that book.
Which apparently
it's
for
like a
Stormwatch, they greatly reimagined them for the first
oh
little bit,
yeah,
but by the end they tried to put them back the way you remember, but it wasn't enough.
yeah, and then they turned up in Future's End only to die.
Yep, they killed them off right away, but then they came back, and then fucking it was stupid.
Yeah,
Frankenstein and the Agents
yeah,
of Shade. That was another book people like. At least Tim Seeley kept bringing Frankenstein back and other stuff.
yeah. There was that Dial H book.
Forgot all about Dial H for
Yeah, I remember I saw like a cover of it like ages ago. I'm like, that was in the New 52.
apparently.
I remember that like when the New 52 started, they announced all these books, and then like the week later, they're like, all these books are cancelled.
It's a shame because you know comics are art and you want to respect art and you want to respect artists, but sometimes when you see a rollout of new books and you see certain titles where you're like, that's not making it past 5 issues.
Yeah, yeah, you can sort of tell which ones.
You can feel it, you can taste it on the wind. Wonder Woman, of course, is another one people really liked. The Azarello stuff wasn't my cup of tea. You liked it more than me.
I like the Azzarello stuff, and it's a lot better than what it was when I was reviewing it.
Yeah, you
Get
fell
me
in love.
started.
You fell in love with Wonder Woman, and then you fell out of love with Wonder Woman pretty hard.
Yeah, it was like it got so good, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing, this is awesome. And then like they started doing all this stuff with like some guy who wanted to try and kill Wonder Woman, and all this God stuff, and then Donna Troy came into it, and it just got terrible.
Don't worry, Matt. Greg Rucka will help us love again.
Then the new Wonder Woman book sounds cool. I like every second issue is a different story, and it's like one set in the past and one set in current time. It sounds amazing.
It's a great idea if you're going to be doing like a bi-monthly schedule. You should use it to your advantage.
Yeah.
Remember Static had a book for a little bit and they canceled it. And remember Blue Beetle had a book for a little bit and they canceled it. Man, did those characters really miss the fucking boat. I'm sure they're really sad when they look over at Marvel and see, like, Sam Alexander, their Hispanic youth, is doing really good, and a Black Spider-Man is doing really good.
Yeah, well, that's like now, like, they've got the Cyborg book, and it's on, like, issue 12 or something now.
Yeah, well, and it's going to be coming back, too.
Yeah, so, like, they've sort of missed that opportunity there. They could have easily brought back Jaime Reyes and, you know, Booster Gold and all that. And
But it's too funny because the guy who's going to be writing Cyborg, Semper is his name. He's worked a lot in animation, actually. He said, yeah, you know, I grew up loving characters like Static and everything, and he gets a huge pop for Static in the crowd. Yeah, Static, we love him. So yeah, my work on Cyborg, and everyone just goes quiet.
I'm like, just bring him back in the book and make him a sidekick to Cyborg.
It's like, look, I'm sorry, I like Cyborg. He's a fine member of the Teen Titans, but I don't think he's interesting enough to read about on his own. I'm sorry. I want to support diversity in comics, I really do. I hope the book does great, but at the same time, I don't know what you could tell me about Cyborg that would make me interested if it didn't start with, and he goes back and joins the Teen Titans.
Yeah.
You want a great Cyborg story, go watch that Justice League versus Teen Titans movie, where literally his entire motivation and his entire arc in that story is him realizing that he would be a much better fit on the Teen Titans than he would be the Justice League.
Yeah.
They even say, why don't you come and join us? And his answer is tragically, better to be benched in the major leagues than a star player in the minors.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's horrible, but okay. Yeah, I can't fault you for that. I also want to say too, it's like, do you get more money from the Justice League? Do you get a better paycheck?
Yeah, are you compensated more?
Do they have benefits? Do they have like a company credit card? Can you go around and do that?
You get weekly oil changes there. You don't get that at the Teen Titans.
Damn it, Cyborg! Did you buy a bunch of pornography and gum again with the company credit card? Maybe.
That seems really specific.
Yeah.
Porn and gum.
No one look at Joel's credit card statement.
500 packs of Wrigley's Extra Mint. A Backdoor Babes 2.
Gigantic asses, magazines. Joel, who buys magazines anymore? Me. That's like that Simpsons bit I love, where it's like, oh, Krusty, your insatiable love for pornography kept me going through that shaky first year. Here, the newest issue of Gigantic Asses is in. Oh, funny. Funny stuff. So, geez, is that all of the new 52? Like 4 to 5 years worth of comics summed up in just a couple minutes?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, obviously there was lots of events and stuff along the way. Liked the rebirth of Damien, loved Throne of Atlantis. Forever Evil was pretty cool. Took forever to be finished, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I collected all the issues and it was alright.
Yeah, you really like Justice League Dark. You wish they would do more with that universe. I wish they would do more with the Young Heroes and the Titans. That's another thing Scott Lobdell totally fucked up and they need to fix now, but they actually look like they're going in the right direction with it finally.
Yeah.
There's actually going to be a serious Titans team now that looks to be getting a major influx, and even the Teen Titans team is getting some new members.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think should be really interesting.
Yeah.
And, well, geez, I guess with that, everyone, we can wind down for another episode. In fact, we're actually done a little early today, which is good, because I need to edit another review for tomorrow.
Yeah, I've got like 6 reviews waiting to be edited.
Oh, God, me too, man. I only lost a day and a half when my computer died, and I swear to God, I feel like I lost a year.
Yeah, it starts piling up if you just like, oh, I won't do anything this day.
I had to push myself to get all the TV shows out, and I'm glad I did. But Steven Universe is back now, and I don't know if you know this, Matt, but they released that show in Weird Bombs Cartoon Network, where it's like, here's 5 episodes in one day.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's like they won't air it for months at a time. Then it's like, yeah, a new episode every week and 2 on weekends now.
Oh my God.
It's like, what are you doing? That's such a popular show, but they have such a weird release schedule with it. And it's even worse now because even though I'm up to date on the shows that have aired in North America, apparently like 3 more have leaked in like Spain or France now. And everyone's like, so are you going to review the leaked episodes, Joel, or are you going to wait? And I'm like, I'm going to watch the leaked episodes. I don't know about reviewing it.
That's like earlier this week. This week's Game of Thrones episode leaked.
It did.
I'm like, ooh.
I challenged myself not to watch it.
Yeah.
It's not like when those 4 leaked out and it's like, well, now I have to spend the night. Friggin' funny. This is good stuff. So yeah, man, thank you everyone for listening to the show. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked this little look back at the new 52. Get hyped for Wednesday. It's going to be a big comic Wednesday. Get hyped for the next episode of the Comic Multiverse, which you can listen to first if you become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month. It really helps me and Matt out. Really helps the show out. Of course, you can listen to the show on Tuesdays now over on Podbean. I have the link down in the description of this. I don't know when I'm going to upload them now is the thing. It's funny, Matt. Comic Multiverse, consistently one of the highest watched things on the channel, and with good reason. Now that I have started putting it over on Podbean, I noticed the numbers have gone down a little bit. I'm like, oh, that's not good. I'm going to have to start cooking the books or something. I have to start cooking the numbers, make this one go up, or do more content. That's the thing. Everyone's like, hey, Julian, would you ever do like top 5s, or would you ever do like, looks at older stories? And the answer to that is always, I would love to. But the fact is I could either do those or do more reviews of new comics.
Yes, there's only so many hours in the day.
It's true, and especially with my channel the place it is now, if I put up more than 2 videos a day, sometimes I'm actually losing money.
Yeah, that's like, I've got like all these ideas for all these like videos I want to do, but I'm like, how am I going to do all these?
Hell,
I
bought a Captain America waffle maker because I really wanted to make Captain America waffles for Civil War in an episode of Cape Kitchen. I'm going to do that at some point, but I just have to find the right day for it. I might have to fucking do it when the DVD comes out now. It's really annoying. I made waffles once and they were great. You can check my Instagram page for that and see how they turned out. Made a horrible mess of my kitchen making them though, because I made them from scratch. And I didn't know you're only supposed to put so much waffle batter in the waffle maker, because if you don't, it'll spill out over the sides.
Just do like what Homer does and just like tip everything into the waffle machine and just eat whatever comes out.
Butter, liquid smoke, capers. I have made some grilled cheeses off it actually, and it works.
Yeah, well, if it works, it works.
It's just hot irons, bread, and cheese. Here's the funny thing, though. You put it in right, the bottom of your sandwich is going to look like a Captain America shield. So everything I make is Captain America shields now. Gonna put a big steak on there one day and fry it up in the waffle iron. Comes out looking like the shield. Patriotic. Shit, man, for July 4th, I should do something for that. Okay, everybody, so thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to like, subscribe, favorite, do all that other social media jazz. Be sure to check Matt out on his channel.
Yeah, Fortress of Solitude. I got a really cool video coming out at the end of this week after DC Rebirth starts, just sort of explaining the whole deal with Superman and all that, since a lot of people seem to be really confused about what's going on.
With good reason. And, hey, be sure to go and start following us at Podbean if you don't already. In fact, we have quite a few followers at Podbean. It's amazing. I had no idea so many people had Podbean accounts, or maybe they made new ones. I don't know. But we have at least... how many people we have following us? I'll look at that for sure. We have a lot. We have a lot of people following us. We have like more than 10.
Yeah, well, more than 10, but less than 12.
Oh, shit. Yeah, we have way more than 10. We have 22. I just looked at it right now. We have 22 people following us over there.
That's awesome.
So thanks, Darren. Thanks, all these other people. Thanks, Nerd, the Jack Who, Star Arc 486. Thanks, guys, for listening to that over there. Good job. Good job. And I guess that will do it for us, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah, see ya.